Hello, I am Wowwy'z, and this is Nefertiti Unmasked. Come with me, and you will learn
how she came to be.
All that's left is LaRue here.
All of the people say, hey, what's going on today? Down in Wowwy'z Workshop, where we use art each day to chase the blues away. Down in Wowwy'z Workshop, brought to you by two brothers, one vision.
Something a little different, folks. This piece is created specifically to enter the Kutzall Creature Challenge. I have no plan whatsoever. So this is going to be a true wood spirit. It's just going to reveal itself as we go. So, let's get on with the show. We're starting off with the Kutzall Extreme, and I'm just going to clean up the face, take a couple of those nubs off. At first I was thinking, should I leave them? Should it be warts or something? But no, I didn't, okay? I didn't, and we're just going to her. Now, using my sanding mandrels to clean up, I'm going to make a nice, even surface to do the face on. And that there is using the Blair sanding mandrel. I do just as much sanding as I do carving. I also have my suction box going there, so all the dust is going inside, in through a cyclone and into a dust collector. Now you can see I'm getting a nice plain surface to begin with. Yeah, give her a little once over. Yep, that's Wowwy'z approved. Okay, gotta figure out a brow line here, and I'll start off and start cutting a nose in. I was kind of thinking, should it be like Venom or, like the alien monster? Should I do teeth or... I didn't know what to do, but I just figured that if I got somewhat of a brow and the nose cut in, that things would reveal itself. Didn't even start with a drawing, man. Just was listening to the burl. The burl made me do it. Now, here we are, the carbide cutter. Now let's just start cutting it in. There's many ways you could go about this. This is kind of the safe route. I take a very slow and safe route with things. Now I'm just following that simple little brow line there and cutting it in good, taking my stance. And as you see, I just do it in layers and layers, slowly taking away the material and cutting in that nose. And as I'm going here, it's a bit of a face is starting to visualize in my mind, and it's kind of more on a female side. So as I work on that nose, I'm starting to see different things. And I just continue to keep on taking that material away, just little increments. Now, for the Kutzall taper. Fine. This is a beauty of a burr, let me tell you. You get in there, and I'm such a freak for sand and stuff. Well, it takes away the material and also makes a nice soft sanded finish. And as I worked away here, I started to visualize and see these big sections in her head, and I just went for it. Using the Kutzall, I just started to just bring it out. I didn't know what I was doing, but like we always say here, you do it to it. Right, folks, it is the next day. My brain has had time to rest, and then I come out and I look at this in the fresh eyes, in a fresh mind. Okay, a couple of things I want to say about it. How I started doing this weird thing up here, I just got this mental image of, you see how it does it here naturally in the grains? Just these kind of lines, and I'm going to do it on this side too. That just add to the symmetry and the weird markings on this alien-y witch, whatever it is. So I'm going to work on that more to bring those out, the vision. I'm going to have to take this knob down and make this a little bit more symmetrical. And then I'm going to close in and start figuring out what I'm going to do with these eyes, but I can kind of see it in my mind, and it's cool. All right, let's get into her. Do it. So let's begin with her elongated head here. Draw on the spots that I want to start cutting in, and I'll draw these things on over and over and over again by the time the project is finished. That's okay. Doesn't matter how many times you gotta do it. What happens in the end is what matters. And I'm just doing my best to balance it and make it symmetrical on each side. Now I'm just going to use the Kutzall taper and kind of go from its side, take away what I don't want there, just so that those humps start to appear. And the crazy thing is I still don't really know what I'm doing. Just following, like I'm following grains and little lines that I'm seeing in the burl. The burl is speaking. And she's coming to be. Here we go. More mandrel work. Always mandrel work. If I was to show all of the sanding I actually do, it'd be videos of 6 hours of this. And my channel probably wouldn't do very well. Anyways, onward and upward. Next, again, I am following grain lines. And I'm just, this flow, this kind of long stretched out S-lines. S-lines are so important in art, guys. Always remember the S-lines. And I'm doing it on either side, so it's gonna start bringing this brow out. Just letting it reveal itself slowly as I go. Yep, looking pretty good. So let's cut it in. We're gonna take the Dremel 9905, the little carbide cutter. You can get sets of these carbide cutters too, cheap, and they do a good job. And it's kind of my way of doing things. Cut it in with the carbide and then clean it up with the 7144. Speak of the devil. And then after that, I'll go in with the Kutzalls. So here I am cleaning up those cut lines with the 7144, and that's on my Ram microcarver. Now going back over to my tried and true, the Kutzall fine taper. And we're cleaning it all up now, and I'm still, every time I do passes, I'm making that nose a little bit more narrow and a little bit more shape to it. And alrighty then, guys. So I just wanted to stop and have a few moments with you guys. I keep looking. I'm not sure what to do with the eyes yet. So I thought about it and I'm like, no, I'll just, is this better? I'll work on, I know the nose has to come in and be smaller, and I think I want to separate this brow some, and I also want to make like think of my finger as a indent in there, in the middle there, a bit of a like scoopy kind of thing there. It's all, until I'm done and my brain clicks, I won't know I'm done. So that's where we're at. I'm just gonna keep on going. Hope you guys like it. All right, you dirty bucket, play with my eyes, will you? I'll give you the old laser. Basically, somewhere right there. See, so I found my middle there, but you see how it doesn't look quite right? That's because if you look at it like this, you see that? This is way higher. So we're gonna fix that and then do that again. Has to be right, especially with faces, man. Biosymmetry isn't screwing around. Here we go. All right, friends and fam, it is the next day. Shaving a haircut later. I look like I'm 12. What have I done? Oh, heavy on the lemon? Keep your honey runny. Oh, all right. So, I grabbed this thing when I walked in, grabbed the pencil, and I was just like thinking about where I left off yesterday, and I just started scribbling. I'm sorry. But yeah, I was just like, I just grabbed it, looked at it really, really quick, because yesterday it was messing with my mind, and I'm like, no, I see where I have to go. So I'm going to make a little bit of a, carve that little section out, and make it nice and soft. Sand it, I should say. And then start figuring out if I'm going to, I think I'm going to cut in eyes. Oh man. And then I'm going to draw in on each side the little nose hump things on the side, and then start cutting this nose in. I might as well start it now, and then I can fine tune it. So that's where we're at. That's where we're going. So now I'm going to attempt to just draw those little nose humps on each side. And then I'll draw a couple things on to see if, like, just for ideas for possible eyes, and see if my brain likes any of it. So let's get into that. Little line to where around, something like that. Something like that is what I'm thinking. Okay guys, and after drawing it about 1,000 times and then checking with my wife and what she thinks, because she's an awesome artist. If you see there's a nice soft S on the top, and it's complementing the flow. It's about the flow, right? And then I just put some lines there in the nose, because I'm sorry, it kind of looks mucky there. I need a clicky pencil, because that's too soft of a lead to be drawn on there. But I can see I just made 2 straight up and down lines on the nose there, so I can suck it in tighter to that line, and then approximately on the nostril humps on each side. So I'm going to start cutting those in next. I got that little small carbide, brand new. That's what we're gonna cut the eyes in with now. So let's do to it. I'm going to admit here that it must be old age, but I had a hard time getting focused and doing these cuts, just because it was so tiny, and I don't know, my eyes just had a hard time. So basically I just followed those pencil lines, leaving the pencil line there, so I had a safety in that way. But yeah, oh wow, he needs glasses. And being extra careful right there. You see that little tiny crack in her cheek from that knot inclusion. I've been dancing around that the whole time, being so careful. And moving in just soft little increments like that, and then I go back over it to make sure it's cut in nice. Doesn't have to be all one swoop. And now I'll switch over to the nose here. Just bit by bit I get it cut in there. There's no need to get aggressive. These are the fine details. This is where you need to take really, really good care. Now this is a fun burr. I found this just by going on Amazon and searching 1/8 diamond burrs, and these popped up. Super long, super fine. They're really, really good for getting into those tight spots. I also use it out of the machine, like a little file, for doing like wrinkles and just fine stuff. They work really good. So here I am just getting in there and cleaning up and getting those tiny, tiny lines in nice and sharp. I'm sure I'm glad I found those. Very handy. And now switching back to my 7144 for a little cleanup, and I'm going to start taking material away on either side of those nose humps. Start shaping the nose more. And again, tiny increments. Now I decided to take a little break here and turn to the base. Again, I have no plan. I'm just gonna go with it. I'm just gonna go with the flow. Okay? It's a piece of burl slab that I got from Jordy one time. This little bit's been kicking around. It's gonna work just great. So I'm using the Flame Extreme here, kind of as a multi-tool. I'm shaping, but I'm also cutting it. I'm using it as my saw. You saw me do that in the moon carving. I used it kind of like a jigsaw. If you haven't seen that, check it out. It's a very good how-to. And I got the tunes bopping and the beeping, and here I go. Now you see I'm just cutting kind of the shape I want, and then going down, feathering it about a bit so I don't catch the burr in there. And it's working great. Get rid of that little bit, shape her and clean her up. There you go. And I'll clean it up here for a little bit, getting a bit of a reveal of the wood that's locked inside there for so many years under that gray. Oh man, I just love wood. And I switched it around and just going at the other side the same way I did the first. Kind of imagining a nice shape, cutting it off, and now cleaning it up with the mandrel. Always cleaning it up with the sanding. Alright guys, next day, fresh eyes, fresh brain. At the end of the day I was working on the burly base. It could go this way or that way. I'm thinking almost more sideways. And then it'll be attached. That looks kind of neat. But, okay. What we're going to do next is we're going to continue with that weird pokey burr that I just found on Amazon. All I was doing was just searching 1/8 shaft diamond burr, and then they popped up. Okay, I want to use that. I want to shape those eyes more, take that kind of corner off of each there. You see how it still has the angular, so just more make it so it's a nice round smooth eye cup. Kind of looking for that alien look. Next, we are going to take the Kutzall flame and we are going to address this knot on the back of the chin area. It's been staring at me. I've been dreading it. So now we're doing it to it. It's boring it right through it, cleaning it up really, really good. And we can start shaping that chin. And perhaps I mentioned that I do quite a bit of sanding. Well, here's some more of it. And now I draw on the little slit for the mouth and I quickly cut it in. And I use the Dremel 106, the tiny little carbide cutter, and just cut it in just ever so much. You can see there that I got excited and did it before I was set up for filming. My apologies. Now introducing a new friend to the party, the Dremel 7103. It's a little ball diamond burr, and I'm just using it to gently make shape for the lips. And I'm still not sure, if I'm liking this or not. kind of going for it, and I'm shaping it here with my little detail sanders. And to be 100% honest, I don't know if this is the way I want this mouth to look. I'm just kind of, going by the seat of my pants here and just feeling it through. And a little bit more work with my little detail sanders there. Stop while I'm ahead. Start on this base. I found out it's 7 inches. Lucky number, my number. Well, 3 and 7. But so I found 3.5. I'm going to drill that there. This, sorry for the camera, I think is going to be the shaft. It's about the right size of what I've been picturing. So I'm going to have to drill that underneath there, make it so it can go in flush with a spade bit, and get this base going, because then I got to figure out how much of this I got to cut off, and then I got to paint this as well. Got that hole drill. Just happened to be a 1/4 inch drill bit for this bolt, but you see we got that on the end, so we use a spade bit so that we can countersink that flush. Figure out which one will do the trick, and it'll be that one right there, 5/8. Now, let's just hope my stupid drill press has enough guts to do it. And that's when the voices started.
Chin's too big,
That
man.
profile ain't right, man.
Too big, man.
Profile
Lips
ain't
are
right.
too big.
The nose is too wide, and I got to bring that up too, man. But
You
that
know you
chin
gotta
is
fix
that
crooked,
shallow.
man.
Chin's too big, man.
I'm gonna say that's in the middle right there. So what I'll do, just so that the drill bit catches good and doesn't go off to the side or whatever, I'm gonna carve a divot in with a Kutzall original sphere course. That'll make sure that the drill bit goes where it needs to go. And I'm gonna use this. It's a wood vise that I just use just as it is. It isn't, attached to a counter or nothing. I just use it for different things. So I'm going to use it, have this upside down at the very right angle that I want that bolt to go in, and then use a drill press. Can you see that right? Okay, I'll get it rigged up in there. I did that with the little Dremel Easy Lock metal cutting disc, and it did her to her. Oh, Jesus, that's hot. Whew. And we are closing in, folks, breaking out the Razertip SK Woodburner. I'm proud of that company. It's a Canadian company. The SK stands for Saskatchewan. Just some little info. And you see here, sometimes I'll do my curves in tiny, tiny little increments. And this here, I'm using the shape of this one pen to make the bees. Just little ways of making the task easier. Thought I'd share that. You know what? I came out with fresh eyes and I was looking at it, because today I'm gluing everything together. And I said, no, the mouth ain't right. I'm doing this over. And that's what I did. I took it off. And I was feeling all right. Shaping the nose here. I was going to give the mouth another go. Got the laser out, making sure she's on point, because we're in the final stages here. After I get this mouth in, she's going to be ready to mount and bring it all home. So with the help of the laser, I'm just doing the very, very final touches, making sure everything is balanced and ready. And now for a series of most unfortunate events. Oh, wowie. This is how she went down. I had already done the mouth once. I wasn't going to do it all and record it all over again, okay? So I just cut the slit in, and then I took it to that little ball. Is it the 7103? And I was starting to shape the bottom lip. And then on the top lip, I was starting to shape it a little tiny bit. And all of a sudden, this little bit of gray appears. I'm like, what the heck is this? And then I'm like, well, first instinct is just get it off there, so you start to carve more. And then the gray grew. And like, I'm talking very minute, but this is happening, okay? And in an instant, my stomach twists, butthole goes in my throat. I know you know that feeling. And in an instant, I was like, this is ruined, okay? I have wrecked it. And I think if I would have continued going in there, there's probably a cavity inside that's, oh, because it's a burl, right? You don't know what's in there. So my first instinct was to grab the Starbond thin and harden that and fix, do what I can to the little tiny spot. So basically she has a little cleft now in her top lip of different color. It's like a little bit of a brown. So I went on there with the thin glue, and it went in, but it also ran out on her cheek and down the side of her head, okay? And now everything's going bad. And so instantly you know, like, what are you gonna do? This is crazy glue. But you have to cover the whole thing because you could tell where it was, right? So now I'm trying to douse the whole thing out there, pouring rain, and it's the last day of the Kutzall thing. And I get it all over the whole entire thing, but I get it all over my hands. And now this thing's stuck to my left hand. I've knocked everything off over, and I'm stepping on it all. And once that bad energy gets going, man, it goes, okay? So I wasn't recording. I knew instantly, like, after I got all of it covered in all of the glue, it was super, super shiny though, and I wasn't liking that. I set that aside, and I knew that this base had to now be at least some shiny. It took 8 coats of the matte clear Rust-Oleum before I finally got to this, and there's still gray spots, but I don't care anymore. Okay, I am over that. And I haven't done the final gluing of it on there, and I've got to do that with the 5-minute epoxy because I don't want it to run out here, so I'll have to do it upside down and just hold it. So that's all that's left. But that's what happened. My goodness, man. You know when you just push something too far? That's what happened, and that's where we're at. I have some really cool little cork feet I want to put on her, but after I glue it on final, when I came the next day, there was this little tiny hole in this part of your nose, that little crack, and you can see it. So I touched it again with the Starbond thin, and it ran a little bit on there. So now there's a shiny spot. So in the end, I have to hit it one last time with the matte clear, and maybe it'll make that little bit of gray on the base go away. Oh my goodness, that's what happened. Oh my goodness.
So late that dark and rainy night, I managed to get these pictures off, folks, and enter that Kutzall contest. 9:00 p.m., October 28th. I got her sent in. I think we did all right. Now let's bring it on home. Okay guys, very quickly, I'm going to put her in the wood vise, get it in the right angle, use the dollar store. This is they sell these for drinking, for shooters. But I'll put the epoxy in there so I can get it in the hole easily. And then as it comes out, it will squish out some. So I use these cool, I got them at the hobby store. They're like a pointy, harder Q-tip. Really good for detail stuff. And we'll get that glued on there. And then after that, it's glued and hardened, and then we can think about a quick flash with this. All right, let's do it. Okay, I brought her inside because it is trying to rain out there. Always, eh? Always. So I'll let that coat dry in peace, and I'll be right back. She looks just perfect after that spray, guys. I am so happy with that. Last but not least, a couple little cork feet. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 here. Don't want to overdo her.
So I'm just going to do a little cork foot. They have a sticky side, but I'm going to use this little tiny dollop of Gorilla Glue to make sure that they never ever come off. So that's just how we do it here.
Now, a little fact about Two Brothers, One Vision is that we're both fascinated by ancient Egypt, lost civilizations. The older the better. So many stories have been lost in time, and I believe there are big chunks of the mystery that have been forgotten or held back. Now, her husband, Akhenaten, has been depicted with having an elongated skull. Okay, he was the pharaoh, and her with the elongated headdresses. Now, there's a very famous stone carving where it shows their entire family, and their 3 daughters have elongated skulls too. So within this art piece holds these messages of all of the mystery still to be known. We want to thank you for coming on this journey with us. We hope you've learned a lot. And we want to thank Kutzall for challenging us and helping Nefertiti Unmasked come to be. There is no YouTube without you. Much love.
Brought to you by Two Brothers, One Vision.